Hi everyone, welcome back to Salesforce Velocity course. In this video, we are going to learn about load data raptors. In our previous sessions, we learned about turbo extract and extract data raptors with some examples. So in this one, we are going to check out the load data raptors. Okay. So before we actually start with any of the examples, let's just go over the definition one more time. So basically, load data raptors are used to save data to one or more Salesforce objects. You can either create data or update data using load data raptors, and it also accepts data in JSON or XML format. Okay, and it also supports formulas. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get started. So I'll move to my CMT org and I'll go ahead and create a data raptor. So once you're on Omnistudio data raptor page, click on new and give a unique name to your data raptor script. So data raptor, and let's just give the name as load example 1. Okay, and here we have to select load, and the input type would be JSON, and here the output type is going to be S object. All right, I'll click on save. So in this scenario, basically we are going to create a contact using the load data raptor. Once we create the contact, we are also going to see how we'll update the contact. Okay, so that would be scenario 2. So let's just go over all the scenarios that we are going to do. Okay, so let me just quickly tell you what and all we are going to do. Okay, so we'll create a contact. Okay, and then we are going to update the contact. After that, we will create an account and an associated contact. Okay, and after this we will create one account. Okay, one account and multiple contacts. Okay, so basically these are, so for example here, right, this, I think this you would be pretty clear about it, that okay, we are just going to use load data raptor for creating a contact, and then we'll use the load data raptor for updating the contact. And on this one, when I will create a contact, then I want an associated account. So basically an account would be created, and then there will be a contact created, and that contact will be tagged to the account that we create. Okay, and in this scenario we are going to see that how to create one contact and then create, sorry, one account and then create multiple contacts and associate those contacts to the account. Okay, so this is going to be scenario 1. All right, this is going to be the scenario 2. This is going to be scenario 3 and scenario 4. Okay, and I will also show you how you can do it otherwise. Let's say like creating a single contacts and multiple accounts in a data raptor, in the load data raptor. All right, so we will see all of that. Let's just get started at least with the very basic one. Okay, create a contact. So I'll move back to the data raptor. This is the one that we just created. Okay, and these are the different tabs that you see. We have objects, formulas, fields, options, and preview. Pretty much everything that we see on the you know on extract data raptor, right? So the only difference is that here we have something called fields, there we had something called output. All right, so here first of all you need to select the object. So I'll click on add object, and I want to create a contact, right? So I'll just go ahead and search for contact. Okay, so I have the object. Okay, now let's just move to fields. Okay, so when I create the contact, what are the fields that I want to provide the values for? Okay, so I'll move to fields, and here I'm going to add some fields. So let's say, let's just give first name. I'm only going to give two fields, first name and last name. So here on contact object, we already have a field called first name. So I just gave JSON input path, right? In JSON, what should be the key name? Okay, that is first name. And this is something domain object field. So from the object, you have to select the field which you're going to map your key for, right? So this is the first field. Let's just give the second field as well. The second field, let's just give it as last name. Okay, so last name, and here on contact, we already have a field called last name. Okay, so the mapping is done over here. So let's just give only these two fields for now. Okay, and options is pretty much same what we have seen earlier. There are few extra options which we will discuss later. Let's just go ahead and go to preview. Okay, so in preview you have to give your input, right? Input as in, if I go back here, I've selected the object that, okay, it is contact. And then in fields, I've selected, okay, that I want to provide first name and last name. But then what values, right? You have to define the values. So in the preview, you have to give the JSON file, okay? JSON input. So here, sorry. Here, I'm going to give the first name and last name, okay? So I already had a JSON structure. I'm just going to just copy one thing so that I don't have to write everything. Okay, so sorry. So this is going to be your first name, okay? And last name, okay? Let's just give the first name as contact one and last name as last name one, okay? All right, so there are two fields that I have defined in the fields tab. And for those two fields, I'm providing the value. Okay, so when the contact is created, this is what I want in the values for first name and last name. Okay, and always remember that whatever the key values you're giving here, right? The key, this key should be exactly same as whatever you had given in the JSON input. Okay, so if you see here, let's say this one, right? First name. So this is your input JSON path, okay? And this is what you have to exactly give in the preview JSON file, okay? Input file. Because if here you have given first name and here you have given just name or something else, then it is not going to match and the mapping will not work, okay? So whatever you have given in the JSON input path, input JSON path, okay? The same value you have to use as the key in the input section of the preview. Okay, so first name, and let's just check the last name as well. So here the input JSON path is last name. Okay, so it looks good. Let's just click on execute. All right, so you can see the contact is created and it also gave us the contact ID. Okay, so let's just go ahead and check this contact. So what are the information that we provided? We just gave the first name and last name, right? So this contact should have this as the first name and this as the last name. So if I click on here, let's just go to details. And here you can see, right? This is the first name and this is the last name. Okay, so this is how you create a very simple record, like, using Load DataRaptor. Okay, now let's just go ahead and try to update, right? So this scenario is, we covered this scenario, right? Creating a contact. Okay, now let's just go ahead and try to update the contact. So let's say when I'm trying to, like, update the contact, and we can take the same example itself. So I will update the values on this contact itself. But for that, we would have to, like, go back to the data raptor, and let's just go back to the field. Okay, and in the field, we also have to include ID, right? Because if you want to update a record, then you have to provide the ID, correct? The record ID. So here, let's just search for contact ID. And here I can give any name that I want, right? This is input JSON path, how I want to mention the key in my JSON. The only thing is that whatever the key I'm mentioning here, right? I have to use the same in the preview, okay? Preview input section. Okay, so contact ID. And because we are already on the contact object, the record ID would be nothing but ID. Okay, so this is the ID, right? Now let's just go to preview. And here I'm just going to add the contact ID. Okay, so here, please notice this. Okay, I'm not just defining ID, I'm defining contact ID, because that is what in my input JSON path I have given in the fields, right here. And then in the ID, I'm going to give the same ID for the contact that we just created. Okay, so I'll go here and I'm going to paste this ID. And now when I'm going to, like, because I have provided an ID, okay, there's one more thing, right? How it is going to identify whether you want to, like, update something to this contact. Okay, so for that, we have to go back to, I believe, fields. And then if I click on the ID, there's something called absurd key. Okay, so we need to check this key, okay, which is going to make sure that if you're provided an ID, so it is going to override the values. Okay, so you have to select this particular checkbox, absurd key. Now let's just go back to preview. Okay. Now, when I execute this script, it will go and search for this contact ID and it will override this contact with these details. Okay. So let's just change something here so that we'll be able to identify if it got updated or not. Okay. So test contact, and let's just give it as LN2. Okay. So execute. So after executing it, this contact should get updated to this first name and this last name. Okay. So execute. All right, let's just go and refresh because this is the one that we had given, right? Right now it is contact 1, LN1. Now it should have the new values. All right, so you can see the new values, right? This is the new first name and then this is the new last name that we provided, okay? So this is how you can update the contact, okay? Now let's just look at the next scenario. Create an account and an associated contact. So that means you have to create an account and then you have to create a respective contact, and you also have to make sure that they are connected, right? It's not that your account is separate and your contact is separate and they are not connected, okay? So that is what, like, we have to make sure while executing this scenario. So let's just go back to the data raptor. Okay, and I will go back to the objects, and in the objects let's just add another object, account, right? So account, and let me keep this one over here, account and then contact. Why did I, sequence it like this? Because we have a field called account ID on contact, and using that field we can link both of these two objects, right? Because on account there is no direct field using which we can access accounts, sorry, contacts, but on contact we have a lookup field, right? Account ID. So here we have to click on add link. So on contact, what is that field that connects the contact with account? It's account ID, right? That is the field, account ID. And then what is the linked object? It is account, right? So you have to select the object account, and on account, which is that ID field that you want to map this from contact to account? It is nothing but the account ID, right? So here you have to search for ID. All right. So now you have account. Okay. And we want to create an account, and then we want to create a contact. And when we are creating that contact, we want to link the contact with the account. Okay. And how we are linking it? Using the account ID field, which is available on contact. And we are mapping this to the ID field of the account. Okay. So the linking is done. Now let's just go back to the fields. Okay. And in the fields, so now there are two tabs, right? One is for account as well. So on contact, we already have these, right? Contact ID, first name. So let's just first remove this one, right? The upsert that we had created. So I'm just going to delete this one. So on contact, we have first name, last name, and let's just go to account and let's just keep one field for account name. Okay. Account name, and here name field from account. Okay. All right. So basically, we would be creating one account, and on that account, we are just only going to give one value, okay, which would be for account name. And then we would be creating, a contact, and on that contact, we are going to provide these two values, okay, for first name and last name. All right. Um, okay, now this mapping is done. Now let's just go to preview and prepare the structure. Okay, so we already have something for first name and last name. Okay, let's just change it to, something scenario 3, and then last name, let's just keep it as 3. And here on the contact, sorry, this would be name, right? So let me give it as account name. Why am I giving it as account name and not name? Because that is how I have given the name here, right? So if you see here, account name, this is my input JSON path, right? Account name. So that is why I'm giving it as account name, and let's just give it as load example 2. Okay. So this is my account name. This is my contact information, right? First name and last name. Let's just go ahead and execute this. All right, so you can see that an account is created and a contact is created. So if I open this contact, then this contact should have this account, right? Not any some random account, right? Because that was the whole purpose, right, of the scenario. So let's just go to the contact. And on this contact, you can see the account that is associated, right? This is the account. And if I navigate to the account, you will be able to see the account name as, yeah, I mean, this is the only field that we provided, right? Yeah. And similarly, like, as per your requirement, if you have like, bunch of other fields for which you want to provide values, then that also can be done. All right. So this is how you associate an account to a contact. Okay. Now let me tell you one more thing. Okay. Before we like, start with this one. So here the way we are providing fields, right, you can provide you can also provide a JSON over here. Okay. So for example, let me show you something here. I'm going ahead and basically deleting this. Not sure if I'll be, yeah. Okay, so here and then in the fields I have first name, last name, and then let me, delete these two. Okay, because I want to show you something else as well. So delete. Okay, in the preview, let's just remove. I'll just keep it if I need it, like, later. I don't want to retype everything. So let's just go back here. Okay, so in object, we have contact. And if I come to fields, right? So here we are like, clicking on this plus sign and then like, searching for the fields and then giving a name and mapping it, right? So instead of doing that, I can directly put a JSON over here. Okay. So for example, this is the JSON. Okay. And let's just remove this for now. Let's say this is a JSON that I have. Okay. If I, let me also give one more value here. Okay. For example, phone. All right, so let me just go ahead and paste this JSON over here. Okay. So I'm not manually clicking and then finding the field and mapping it. Okay. I will just simply enter the JSON here. So once I enter the JSON here, after that, if I click over here, right, in the JSON path, you will see all the elements from the JSON file. So in the JSON, I have these three, right? I've already defined first name, last name, and phone. So it is giving me first name, last name, phone. So I don't have to type it. You're getting my point, right? So I'll just simply select first name and here, of course, you still have to map it with the API name of the object, right? I mean, API name of the field on the object, right? So here it is first name, and then let's just add another one here, last name, then here, last name. Okay. And then one more we have, right? Phone. So here you can select phone and here you can map it with phone. Okay. So if you already have a JSON and if you paste it over here, then it becomes easy. You don't have to retype the input JSON path. Okay. And the other benefit is also you can paste the same JSON, okay, over here as well in your preview, right? So you don't have to write it. So here, if I paste it, it is going to create another contact, right? So if I execute this, you can see a contact is created. Okay. And the contact first name, last name, and phone number would be this one. So here you can see, right? Phone number, first name, and last name. Okay. So this is how you can this is how you can input data using the JSON. Okay. Input JSON here rather than creating the elements and the mapping you still have to do, right? Because you still have to map each because the key could be something totally different, which might not make sense. But if you are developing it yourself or somebody else has done it, and if the naming is even different, then by mapping you'll still be able to figure out, right, that by this key what is the field that you want to map for that particular key, right? So this is how you can use input JSON, okay, for mapping. Now let's just go ahead and check out the next scenario. So one account and multiple contacts. Okay. So let's just go ahead and create, let's just create a new data raptor for this one. So here DataRaptor, and then what was the scenario? One account and multiple contacts, right? One account, multiple contacts. Okay, and here we are going to use load and JSON and object. That's it. Okay, so one account and multiple contacts, right? So we first need to select the object, right? So account, and then the other object would be contact. Sorry. This is contact. So we have selected the objects. The next step is to link these two objects, right? And how you're going to link it with the account ID field that we have on contact object, right? So add link. And here we have this field account ID. The object is this one. And here we have to search for the ID. Okay. Contacts account ID is equals to accounts ID. Okay. That is how we are linking these two objects. Once the objects are linked, let's just go to the fields. Okay. So in the fields for account, we are only creating one account. So I'm going to just give it as account name. Okay. And here let's just search for name. We have to do the mapping, right? So account name, and then let's go to contact. So in contact, let me use the same JSON first. This is just, I'm just using it just for the mapping because the structure that we are going to create is going to be different under preview, right? Because we want multiple contacts, correct? So here, let's just click over here and first name, okay. Then last name. Then let's just also provide phone. Okay, so the mapping is done and I don't want this. Okay. Now we have done the mapping. Okay. And all right. So the next thing is that we know that this is going to we are going to use this to create the account. We are going to use this mapping to create the contact. Now we have to go and define the structure that how we are going to do it. Okay. So the first thing is, let me just copy a very basic structure here first. Okay. So, and I want to remove this. Okay. And let me only give, so what is the account name JSON input that I have given here? So in the field, it is account name, right? Input JSON path is account name. So account name, go to preview and let's just give account name. And I'm going to give it as load account example, let's say 5. Okay. So this is the account name. Now the question is how you are going to give the contacts, right? Because let's say I have to create 3 contacts. So basically it is a list of contacts, right? That I want to create under the same account. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to create some kind of variable in your mapping. Okay. Basically the structure that you would be creating, you have to create a node for the list. Okay. So that inside that particular node, you can provide different values. Okay. And for that, let's just go back to the fields. And here under contact, in the first name and in all of it, right? So in the input JSON path, I'm just going to append something such as list and colon. So this is nothing but I'm just creating an extra node. Okay. So list, and under the same node, I want to keep the other 2 fields as well. Okay. Phone and where's the other field? Phone and first name as well. Hold on. Okay, first name. And so under the same node, I want to keep first name, last name, and phone. So list, last name, list, first name, and then list, phone. Okay, so here input JSON. Okay, list, phone. All right. So in account, we are just only creating one account. Okay, so we are not creating any extra node. But let's just go to account and see, because we have to create multiple contacts, right? So when we have to create multiple contacts, I'm just giving a single same parent node so that under the same structure I can provide different contact entries. Okay, let's just go ahead and see how we can do it. Okay, so here we have the account name. I'm not sure if I can maximize this page, but I think this is fine. Okay, so account name, and then here let me just okay, so here what have you defined the node as? List, right? So the list, and under list we have to, and then we have to give this. Okay, because we are providing multiple values inside the list, right? So this is the structure, right? Square brackets, and under that you will have first contact details, second contact details, sorry, and then third contact detail. Okay, now let's just go ahead and provide the values. I'm just going to just copy this. So here, here, here. Okay, so let's just go ahead and edit these. Okay, so first name is, let's just give it as uh, contact one, and let's just give it something else as demo one. Okay, and then I mean the phone number, let's just keep it same. Okay, I'm not changing that. And here let's just give it as contact two, and then demo two, here contact three, and here demo three. Okay, so I think we have the structure ready now. We have to create one account with this name, and under that account, there will be a list of contacts. And how many contacts are going to be there? 3 contacts, okay? With these details, okay? The first contact will have this detail, first name, last name, phone number. Second contact will have these details. Third contact will have these details, all right? So let me execute this, show you, and then we will go through the steps one more time. Okay, so you can see there is one account and there are 3 contacts that got created. So let's just go to the account and then we can see all the 3 contacts. Do I have? Yeah. So on this account, okay, this is the account name that we provided. Okay, account name, and under that account we have 3 contacts, first name, last name, right? Con1, con2, and con3 with these phone number. Okay, we did not provide any other details. So one account and the multiple contacts that got created. All right, so I think the only thing that you have to be a bit careful about is not exactly careful, but you need to understand that how we have how flexible it is, right? If you want to create any such structure, you just can go ahead and because you have the control of JSON, right? So you can create the nodes as you want, right? So let's just go through all the steps one more time. So in objects, because I wanted to create one account and multiple contacts, right? So basically I knew that I have to create an association between account and contact. So I included 2 objects, account and contact. The second step was to associate the account and contact. And the association can happen using the account ID field, which is available on contact. And we have to map that with the ID field of account. Okay. Once that was done, under fields, on account, we are only giving one field, but you can give multiple fields, right? As per your requirement. If you want to give account phone number, email, or whatever you want, or billing city and stuff like that, you can keep on creating those fields either manually, or you can also insert a JSON over here, and then that will make it easier for you to insert the fields. Okay, so you have to just define the fields that you want to add, like the key and the mapping over here. And then under contacts, we have done the same thing for first name, last name, and phone. The only thing that we did different here is that we created one more node. Okay, so that under that list, we can define multiple contact values. Okay, so, and then under this list, we have encapsulated all the contacts information that we wanted to get created. Okay, and that is how we have done it. Similarly, for example, if you want to do it other way around, let's say create a single contact and multiple accounts. Okay, then that also can be done. I mean, you can try out different scenarios. The only thing is that I think you should try it out, because you will get a more hands-on on the structure that you have to create and how it gets created. So I believe that this actually this gave you a clear picture of how Load DataRaptor can be used to create and update data in Salesforce, right? So I'm hoping that you will go ahead and try out these different things. I mean, you can take other objects of Salesforce, for example, account, cases, lead, opportunities, whatever you want, and you can just think about different scenarios, or even Google some real time use cases. And all you have to do is play with the structure, field mapping, and the object connect, which is pretty clear. You just have to identify how you can link those objects. Once you identify how to link those objects, the mapping is going to be pretty easier for you, right? And here you just have to figure out how you can amend, right, your JSON structure as per your need. All right, so that is all about Load DataRaptors. In next session we are going to check transform DataRaptors. All right, so thank you for watching.